Maybe you've heard the story about Bill Dillon, the Brevard County man who spent 27 years in prison for a crime he didn't commit. In 2008, DNA proved that he was not guilty of the crime. Now, the nation was fascinated with the story of this man who entered prison at age 22 and left vindicated, a 49-year-old man. What you may not know, though, is that this was only the beginning of a dark and twisted tale of injustice, because there were others. I'm Scott Maxwell, and this is Taking Names. You could write a book about this tragic story, but the short version is that Bill Dillon had been convicted in the 1980s by prosecutors who brought in a fraudulent dog handling expert who claimed the dog found Dillon's scent at the scene of the crime. Only here's the thing, it was all bunk, just completely bogus. Judges in 2 different states later ruled the dog handler, named John Preston, just made things up to give prosecutors the evidence they needed for a conviction. 2 other men convicted with Preston's help also had their convictions overturned after science once again proved they were innocent as well. Now that's 3 wrongful convictions, all tied to the same bogus witness and the same prosecution team. But wait, more than 30 other men were also convicted in the 1980s with help from the same fraudulent expert, at least one of them still behind bars. And no one has ever thoroughly probed their cases. Now in 2010, when Pam Bondi was running for Attorney General, she vowed to do so. She promised me personally. She even went on national TV, on Geraldo Rivera's show on Fox 3 days before the Republican primary to express her supposed outrage about the cases.
I mean, this guy was using basically junk science, claiming that this dog could find weapons underwater. It was really unreal back in the 80s. And then Geraldo, like you said, you did your show in the mid-80s, and now we learn that there are still, at least in Florida, 4 people still in prison.
But Pam, let me ask you this question.
On this case.
How many did you say? I'm sorry, I interrupted you.
4 in Florida that are still in prison.
But since then, nothing. And it's way past time for action. If Bondi won't order a thorough, independent review of every case in which Preston was involved, and frankly, I'm not sure I even trust her to do so at this point, then the U.S. Attorney's Office should do it. But the bottom line is that 3 men have been already proven to have been wrongfully convicted, and no one in this state is pushing to see if there are others. That's beyond wrong. It's shameful. For the Orlando Sentinel, I'm Scott Maxwell.